Hello students, today I am here to teach you chapter 4, that is Binomial Expressions. So before we start this unit, we need to look at some basic concepts. So here, first thing you need to know, when you take any positive number, multiply by another positive number, or negative number multiplied by negative number, what will happen? You learned this before. So when you get same sign multiplication, what you get? In both cases, you get positive answer. So what happens when you get different signs? One is negative and one is positive. Or the first one is positive and second one is negative. So what will happen? When you multiply different signs, you will end up with negative value. So here I'll put brackets to recognize these signs. So this is really important in algebra. So make sure that when you have two numbers with the same sign, you will get a positive answer, and when you have two different signs, you get a negative answer. We'll look at some examples that you have done before. So these are basic algebra. So here in the first part, you get letters addition. So like terms. So here when you see like terms, what you do? You can add or subtract. So in the first case, you get 4 numbers addition. So what we can do? How we can simplify? A plus A plus A plus A. How many times you are getting A? You get 4 times A. In algebra, when you get a number and a letter, we don't need to write the sign. So instead of 4 times A, you can simply write 4A. Now look at the second one. You get 2 different letters. So A terms also there, B terms also there. So you can add A term separately and B term separately. So when you take these 3, A plus A plus A, what do you get? 3A. What about this one? B plus B, you get 2B. Now look at the third one. You get multiplication sign. What happens when you multiply letters like this? It's not the same as y plus y plus y. This is multiplication. So when you multiply, you get the letter as a power. So how many times you multiply y? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times you are multiplying the same letter. So here we can write y to the power 4. In this question, you get combination of numbers and letters. So what we can do, we can multiply the numbers separately and think about the letters. Now here, just multiply the numbers. 2 times 3, 6. And you get the letter A. So here, don't get confused with the multiplication sign and the X letter. So here when you multiply these two, what happens? 2 times 3, you get 6. Then you get X times X. Like before, when you multiply, you get the power 2 because there are 2 X's. In this question, first you can multiply the numbers. 3 times 2, you get 6. Then what we do? A. So when you are multiplying A twice, you get power 2. A to the power 2. Now look at B and C. So only once. So here you are not getting powers, but you have to write as it is. Third one, this one. What you get? Minus 3 times 2. Now we know this is minus, this is plus. So what is the answer you are getting? You are getting a negative answer because 1 is plus, 1 is negative. So minus 3 times 2 is minus 6. And A and B remaining, so you can write as it is. So we'll look at some more examples. So here another question here, two negative signs are there with the multiplication sign. So we'll put brackets. Then you can clearly understand these are two negative numbers. So when you are multiplying minus with minus, what happens? Minus into minus becomes positive. Minus 2 times minus 5 becomes positive 10. Then x and y terms you get once. Now try this one. What do you get? 4 times minus 2. So what is 4 times minus 2? Minus 8, because one is positive and the other one is negative. Then you will get x and y. So here you get two negative values. Here it's easy for you, when you see a negative side, put brackets. Okay, now we'll do minus 5 times minus 3. You get a positive answer, that's plus 15, and a twice, a times a, you get a squared. So these ones you have done before in your previous class. Now we'll look at these questions. There are brackets. So in this case, we are asked to expand brackets. What does expand brackets means? Remove brackets. When you see brackets, for the final answer, you are not getting brackets. So remove brackets. You can write expand brackets means we are removing brackets. Now we'll see how we can remove. So what's the rule when you are multiplying like this? There's a number in front of the bracket. So you have to multiply this number with all these numbers inside. That's the rule. So what we do, 2 is there. So you multiply, the first number is x. 2 times x, you get 2x. So again you have to multiply this 2 by inside 2 as well. What is 2 times 2? You get 4. So what is the sign in between? When you are getting plus, the final answer also plus. Now we'll take this one with a negative sign. Again, same rule. When you are multiplying, you have to multiply both these inside numbers by the outside number. So 3 times a, 3a. 3 times minus b. You will end up with minus 3b. Now try this one. You get a minus sign. Minus, so you have to think about both the numbers. You have to multiply by minus 5. Minus 5 times x, minus 5x. What about the other one? You get both minus. What's the result? When you multiply both minus, you will end up with plus. 5 times y becomes 5y. What about this one? Now you get here same letter inside and outside. So be careful, you need to think about powers. When you have more than once, you have to think about the powers. 2x times x. 2x squared. Not just 1x. Or you are not adding here. You are multiplying x with x. You get x squared. 2x with minus 3y. What happens? 2 times 3 minus 6 and you get xy. So the answer is minus 6xy. This one, you do the same thing. Always multiply inside numbers with the outside number. So 3a times 7, you get 21a. 3a times 2b, 3 times 2, 6. And a and b, you are getting, what's the sign in between? This is minus, so you will get minus sign. In this case, you get here minus 2x times x, minus 2x squared. Minus 2x times minus 3y, Minus minus becomes plus. So you will end up with 6xy. Now we'll take some more examples. Now what's the difference between the previous question and this one? Earlier we just expanded the brackets. Now expand and simplify. So when you say the word simplify, that means when you get like terms, you have to add and write down the lowest term. So we'll see what happens here. You get two brackets and you are asked to first expand it and simplify. So here what you do, same thing, you multiply by the outside number here. This is also another bracket, you have to multiply by the outside number. And what you get, a times a squared. A times 3, 3a. What happens here? Minus 2 times a, minus 2a. Minus 2 times minus 5. Minus minus becomes plus. 2 times 5, 10. Now, you have to simplify this. Look at carefully whether you get like terms. What are the like terms? Can you see? There are two like terms. These terms in terms of a. So, you can add or subtract by looking at the sign. Now, here, what's the value here? A squared you can't simplify. You keep as it is. Through 3a minus 2a. 3 minus 2 plus a. You don't need to write 1 here. So sometimes students write 1a, doesn't matter. That's same as a. Plus 10. 10 you can't simplify. So you can write a squared plus a plus 10. Now we'll take another example. This is also first you multiply by the outside number and then write it down and simplify. X into 2x, you get 2x squared. X into minus 3, minus 3x. 5 times 2x here, this is plus. So you have to consider the sign in front. Plus 5 into 2x. 5 times 2, 10. 10x. Plus 5 into minus 3. Plus into minus becomes minus. 5 times 3 becomes 15. Now look at carefully and simplify. We can see this term and this term are like terms. So you can simplify further. So you can write 2x squared minus 3x plus 10x. 10 minus 3. Simply 7x. And minus 15 you have to write as it is. Now we'll look at what are binomial expressions. So what are binomial expressions? So here by means two terms. So we'll take expression like this, x plus y. You get two terms. Another example, 3a minus 2y. So you can get any two terms with plus or minus. Another one, you can get any square term as well. So this is also binomial because two terms are there. So we call this is in algebra, so binomial expressions. So I can take another one, 3a plus 5b. So all these we call binomial expression. By means two terms. So only we are considering in this section when you get two terms. So here in this example, you are asked to expand this expression. So like before, you can think about this is the number outside. You can multiply inside numbers by the outside number. So here what you can see, a times a. So what you get? A squared. What about this one? A times 3. So when you multiply a times 3, we don't say a3. So always the number we write in front. So we can write 3a. What's the sign here? This is plus. So you get 3a. Now what's the difference between this and this? Earlier you got just simple letter, but you get here another expression. So what we can do, consider this is as one expression. So you multiply this by this and multiply this with the inside number. So what you get? You can write, after multiplying this, you can write a times a plus 1, and plus sign is there because inside plus sign here. So 3 times a plus 1. So what you get? Now again you can expand brackets. So a times a and a times 1. So what is a times a? You get a squared. What is a times 1? Plus a. No need to write 1a. What about this one? Plus 3 times a plus 3a. What about this one? 3 times 1 plus 3. Now see whether you can simplify. So we can see these two terms are like terms and you can add it. So you get a squared, a plus 3a. So what is a plus 3a? You get 4a. 4a plus 3 is there. So you have to write as it is. Now we'll take another example. Okay, again you get two expressions, binomial expressions. You are asked to expand it. So we can take this as one expression and multiply with this and with this number. So how can we write down? So you can take x plus 5 into x is the first term. So what's the next term? So you get minus 3 times x plus 5. Now again we know you can expand brackets. Always multiply the inside numbers with the outside number. So what you get? X into x, x squared. X into plus 5, plus 5x. What about this one? Minus 3 times x, minus 3x. Minus 3 times 5, minus 15. Now see whether you can simplify. I can see these are like terms, I can simplify. So you can write x squared as it is. 5x minus 3x becomes 2x minus 15. So you can't simplify further. So we'll see some more examples using the same method. So this is the expression here. You are multiplying with these two numbers. So what we can write? 2x plus 5 is the expression. You are multiplying with x, and 2x plus 5 term you are multiplying with minus 3. Then again you can see, you can open brackets here and write down x into 2x becomes 2x squared. X into plus 5 plus 5x. Minus 3 times 2x minus 6x. Minus 3 times 5 minus 15. Now we can see, you can simplify further. You get 2x squared plus 5x minus 6x. You get minus 1x. So no need to write 1. You can just write minus x. And then you get minus 15. Now we'll take another example here. So here, this is another example. This is the expression. You multiply with these two numbers. So you can write 2a plus 3b is the expression. Multiply by a and multiply by minus 2b. So what you get? Again simplify. First expand this and then simplify. A times 2a, you get 2a squared. A times 3b, 3ab. What about this one? 2b times 2a. So this is minus, so you get a minus sign. Minus 2 times 2 is 4ab. B times 2b times 3b. So here minus into plus is minus. 2 times 3 is 6, b squared. Here when you are multiplying, have you noticed that b times a is the same as ab. So instead of writing ba, here I wrote ab because ab is the same as ba. So when you write like that, I can see these two are like terms. So here what you get 2a squared plus 3ab minus 4ab. What you get? Minus ab, because 3 minus 4 becomes minus 1, minus 6b squared. Now we'll see the review exercise in your textbook. So in this review exercise, you are asked to simplify the following algebraic expression. So what you do? You can simplify, just multiply the numbers separately. 2 times 3 is 6, a. What about this one? Minus into plus. We know that you are getting negative. 4 times 2 is minus 8 and you get x. This one, minus 3 times 2x. Minus 3 times 2 is minus 6. You get x here. So answer is minus 6x. This one, you get two terms. 2 times 3 becomes 6 and you are getting x and y. In this case, you get a negative value and a positive value. So you will end up with a negative value. 3 times minus 5 is minus 15. A and B, you can write AB or BA. In this case, again plus into minus. You get a negative answer. 4 times 2 is 8. MN, or you can write NM. Now we look at the second part. No. And in part G, you get both negative numbers. So what happens when you multiply both negative? You get positive. Minus 4 times minus 2 is plus value. So you get plus 8. And PQ you are getting as the answer. This one you get same x value. So first 3 times 5 is 15. X into x becomes power 2. And this case, minus 5 into 3, you get negative and positive becomes negative. Negative 15a squared. And we'll take the second question. Expand the following algebraic expression. So expand means you multiply the inside values by the outside numbers. In all these cases, you multiply inside number with the outside number. So what we do? 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 1 is 2. So the sign is plus, so you end up with a plus. 3 times b, 3b, plus 3 times 3 becomes 9. In this case, 4 times y is 4y. 4 times minus 2 is minus 8. Now we'll look at this one. You get a negative sign in front. Still the same. You multiply the outside number with the inside values. So what you get? Minus 3 times a, minus 3a. Minus 3 times plus 2, minus 6. In this one, minus 2x into x, minus 2x. Minus into minus, you get positive 4. In this one, x into 2x, 2x squared. X into plus 3, plus 3x. Now you know how to expand brackets. When you get any expression with another one, you know how to expand. Now some more questions here. So we'll straight away do that. Multiply each and every term inside with the inside value. Here you get 3 terms. This is not called binomial, but if there's a number outside, same thing you are doing. You multiply all inside numbers with the outside number. So here we'll take this one. First, 2y into y, you get 2y squared. 2y into plus 1 plus 2y. Minus 2x into 4x, you get minus 8x squared because you get the same x value. Minus 2x plus 1, you get minus 2x. This one, minus 3b times a, minus 3ba, or you can write as ab. Minus 3b times b, minus minus becomes positive, 3b squared. Now here, 3 terms, okay, we'll multiply with 2. 2 times a, 2a. 2 times minus b, minus 2b. 2 times minus 3, minus 6c. Now we'll see what we have in the third question. Expand and simplify the following algebraic expression. So here you get 2 expressions and then you have to simplify. So here same thing, when you have a number outside, you have to multiply it with all the inside numbers. So what you do, x into x, x squared, x into 2 plus 2x, 2 into x, 2x again, 2 times 2 plus 4. We can add these two together, you get x squared plus 2x and 2x becomes 4x plus 4. This one, again, you are multiplying with the outside number. Expand it, y squared, 3 times y, 3y, plus 3 into y, 3y again. 3 times minus 2 becomes minus 6. So when you simplify further, you get y squared plus 3y plus 3y becomes 6y minus 6. What about the third one? You multiply, expand first and then simplify. X into x, x squared plus x times 1x minus 3 times x minus 3x minus 3 times minus 1 becomes plus 3. Now you can simplify the like terms. You get x squared minus 2x plus 3. This one, again multiply and expand brackets. M into m becomes m squared. M into minus 3n becomes minus 3mn. You can write as nm as well. Here nm, but you can write mn. N into minus 3n. So minus minus becomes plus. So you get 3n squared. Are there any like terms? Yes, these two are like terms. So here m squared is there. So these two are like terms. So here minus 3mn minus mn. It becomes minus 4mn. And then you get 3n squared. Now we'll look at these expressions. Now here you get 2 binomial expressions. So what you do? You take this one and multiply with the other 2. So here you can write x into x plus 5 plus 8 into x plus 5. Simplify that, again multiply with outside number. X into x becomes x squared. X into 5 becomes 5x. 8 into x plus 8x. 8 into plus 5 becomes 40. Now try to simplify. You can add these two together. You get x squared plus 5 plus 8, 13x plus 40. Now this one, again take the expression and multiply with the two numbers. So you can write 3 times 7 plus a and 8 times 7 plus a. So what you get? Again expand brackets. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times a is 3a. A times 7. We don't write a7. 7a. Minus here plus a into plus a becomes a square. So when you simplify, you can see these two are like terms. You will end up with 21. 3 plus 7 becomes 10. So this is a term. So 10a plus a square. So in this one, again, this is one expression. Multiply these two expressions. X minus 5 with x into x minus 5. This is plus. You get plus 8 into x minus 5. Now expand brackets. And you can write x into x becomes x squared. X into minus 5 becomes minus 5x. Then what happens here? 8 times x, 8x. 8 times minus 5, minus 40. Now again, you can simplify here. You get x squared plus 8 and minus 5. You will end up with 3x minus 40. Now we'll take this one. Similar to the previous one, take this and this as one expression and expand brackets. So you get x with x plus 5 minus 8 with x plus 5. Now expand brackets again. X into x becomes x squared. X into 5 becomes 5x. Minus 8 into x becomes minus 8x. Minus 8 into plus 5 becomes minus 40. Simplify this. You get x squared plus 5 minus 8. You get minus 3x minus 40 here. Now we'll see this one. Same thing again and again. Same expression multiplied with the 2 inside values. So you can write 3 with 2 plus m and minus m with 2 plus m. Now you can expand it again. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times m, 3m. Minus m times 2, not m2, 2m. Minus m times m minus m squared. When you simplify, you get 6. 3 and minus 2 becomes plus m minus m squared. And this one, again, we'll take this as one expression, multiply these two. So you will get x with x minus 5 minus 8 with x minus 5. Now, again, multiply these two together. X with x, x squared. X with minus 5, minus 5x. Minus 8 with x, minus 8x. Minus 8 into minus 5 becomes plus 40. So what you get here? You get x squared minus 5 minus 8. You get minus 13x plus 40. Now we'll take the examples in your textbook. That's example number 1. Expand and simplify this. So you know one method now already how to expand. So I'll teach you here another 2 methods. So we'll do the method that you know already. So we'll take method 1. So here we'll take the same question, 3x plus 2, 2x plus 3. What's the first method that you already know? Take this expression as 1 and multiply with the other 2 numbers. So you can write 2x with 3x plus 2 and plus 3 with 2x plus 3x plus 2. Then you expand it and simplify. That's the method that you know. 2x into 3x becomes 6x squared. 2x into plus 2, you get 4x. 3x into 3x, you get 9x. 3 times 2, you get 6. These two are like terms. You can add it and write down 6x squared plus 13x plus 6. Now I'll teach you another method. So here I can take the same question and I'll help you with another method. 3x plus 2, 2x plus 3. Okay, we call this method as rainbow method or sometimes foil method. So we'll see how we can do this method. So we call rainbow means we multiply this by this, multiply this by this, second number like this, so like a rainbow. So we call rainbow, or we call this as foil method. So what is foil means? Foil means first with first, first with first. So this is first bracket. So this is F, first with first. O means outside, outside with outside. This is O. I means inside with inside. So this is I. L means last with last. So we call this is as foil method. So when you do that, first one with first one, 3x into 2x becomes 6x squared. Then the next one, O. O means outside with outside. 3x plus 3 becomes 9x. Third one is inside with inside. You get 2 times 2x, 4x. Then last with last, you get 2 times 3, 6. Now here also you get the same answer. 6x squared, 9 plus 4 becomes 13x plus 6. Now the third method, I can help you with the area of a rectangle. So we'll see how we can do that. So the method 3 is related to the area. So here we'll take, so if the rectangle is divided into 2 parts, so we'll take this expression 3x and 2 and the other expression in this side 2x and 3. Okay, first thing, you write first expression in one side, the other expression in the other side. So then what we do, we find separate areas inside. So here what's the area of this one? If you know this length is 2x and this one is 3x, how you find out the area of a rectangle? 3 times 2, 6, 6x squared, x into x squared. If you get this rectangle, the height is 3 and this length is 3x. So what's the area of this rectangle? 3 times 3x is 9x. So here you get 9x here. What you get in this rectangle? 2x into 2. You get 4x. What about the last one? 3 times 2, you get 6. Now when you add these separate areas, what you get? Area of the full rectangle. So what is the full? In this full rectangle, what's the length? Length is 3x plus 2. What's the width here? 2x plus 3. When you are multiplying length into breadth, what you get? That is the expansion. So inside areas are equal to that. So we can write it's equal to 6x squared plus 4x plus 9x plus c. So what you get here, when you are expanding brackets, you can use this area method. So finally you end up with 4x plus 9x is 13x plus 6. So you get the same answer. So what's the first method? You did this method before. Take this one as one expression and multiply. And the second method is rainbow method or foil method. You multiply like this by drawing arrows like that. Or third method is finding the area of a rectangle. Now we'll look at the next example. Okay, so in example 2, so you have given two expressions. We'll without using rectangle method, we'll use the other two methods. So I'll do it here. Take the first method. What we do? You multiply this expression with these two. So you get 3x minus 2 times 2x plus 5 times 3x minus 2. So when you expand brackets, you get 2 times 3, 6x squared. 2x times minus 2 minus 4x. 5 times 3x is 15x. 5 times minus 2 is minus 10. Simplify further, you will get 6x squared. 15 minus 4 is, what's 15 minus 4? Plus 11x. So here, make sure that plus 15 minus 4 minus 10 is there. So we'll look at the second method. What's the second method? Rainbow method. So I can write the same question and I'm using rainbow method. This one. So 4 arrows are coming. 3x into 2x, 6x squared. 3x into 5 plus 15x. Minus 2 into minus 2x minus 4x. Minus 2 into 5 minus 10. So when you simplify this, you get the same answer. 6x squared. 15 minus 4 is plus 11x minus 10. So we'll do the next one with both methods. This expression you can multiply separately and write down x with 2x plus y, 3y with 2x plus 5. Then again expand it. You get 2x into x, 2x squared, 2x into y plus xy. 3 times 2, you get 6xy. Yx, you can write xy as, no need to write yx. 3y into y, 3y squared. Now, can you simplify further? I can say these two are 2, you can simplify. So, you will end up with 2x squared. This is 1. 6 plus 1, 7xy plus 3y squared. How you use the rainbow method? You write the same question and when you practice this method, it's really easy. You can straight away get the answer. So you draw the arrows like this and 2x into x, 2x squared, 2x into 3y, 6xy, y into x, you can write xy, y into 3y, 3y squared. And simplify the middle two terms, you get 2x squared plus 6 plus 1 becomes 7. That's 7xy plus 3y squared. Now the third one, we'll use the first method. This whole expression you multiply by these two. So you get 3x plus 2y with 3x. The next one, minus 2y with 3x plus 2y. Now, expand brackets. So what you get? 3x times 3x, 9x squared. 3x times 2y, 6xy. Minus 2y with 3x, minus 6yx or xy. Minus 2 times plus 2, you get minus 4, y times y becomes y squared. Can you simplify? Yes, you can simplify these two. So you will get 9x squared, 6xy minus 6xy. So what happens here? It gets cancelled out. One is positive, one and the other one is negative. So this is 0. So you will end up with this answer. So you get minus 4y squared. We'll do the same thing with rainbow method. I'll write this down. So you can write down rainbow method, multiply, draw the rainbow like this and multiply. 3x times 3x, 9x squared. 3x times minus 2y, minus 6xy. Plus 2y with 3x, plus 6xy. Plus 2y with minus 2y, you get minus 4y squared. Again, we can see plus 6 and minus 6 get cancelled out. You will get 9x squared and minus 4y squared. We'll look at the example number 5. So here again, now we'll use rainbow method first. It's really easy. We'll draw the two rainbow and here down rainbows and then multiply. So we can write down 5a times 2a, 10a squared. 5a times minus 3b, minus 15ab. Minus 2b times 2a, minus 4ba, or I can write ab. Minus 2b times minus 3b, plus 6b squared. Now, can you simplify further? Yes. Minus 15 minus 4. So, what you get? Minus 19ab plus 6b squared. Now, I'll show you the previous method again. If you have two expressions like this, you can take this as 1 and multiply with the other two. That's your previous method. So here, if you are not familiar with this rainbow method, you can write separately and expand brackets. So you can write 2a with 5a minus 2b minus 3b with 5a minus 2b. Now you can expand it. 2a times 5a, 10a squared. 2a times minus 2b becomes 4ab. Minus 3b times 5a becomes minus 15ba or ab. Minus 3b times minus 2b becomes 6b squared. You can simplify these two. 10a squared is already there. Minus 4 and minus 15 becomes 19ab plus 6b squared. Now I'll do the rainbow method here. Multiply these two and these two. So here what you get? A times 1/3 a. So if you can't do it, just write down separately and multiply. So here you get fractions here. 1/3 into 1 is 1/3. A times a is a squared. A times minus 1/4 b. You get minus 1/4 ab. B times 1/3 a. You get plus 1/3 ab. Plus b times 1/3 a. You get 1/3 ba or ab. Here, last one. What's the answer? Not ab. You are multiplying b with b. So here, what's the answer? B with minus 1/4 is minus 1/4 b squared. Now, again, you can simplify these two. Now, you need to know how to add fractions. So, in chapter 3, we did fraction addition and subtraction. Now, you need how to add this. So, here you get this one minus, so these two you can write as it is, but this one you have to simplify. So how we simplify? So what is 1? Now AB is the like term. So in this case you get minus 1/4 and plus 1/3. How did we simplify these fractions? Find the lowest common multiple, 4 and 3. What's the common multiple? 12. and then convert to 12 and do addition. So here what happens? 4, how you get 12? Multiply by 3. So you get minus 3. 3, how you get 12? By multiplying by 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 minus 3 becomes 1. So you get 1 over 12. So what's the final answer when you simplify this? This is positive minus 3 plus 4. So you get plus 1 over 12 AB. Now we'll take the other method. If you are not familiar with this one, doesn't matter, you can write separately and multiply. So I'll erase this one and write down the other method. If you are multiplying this one, what can I write? I can write this whole expression multiplied by this and this. So instead I can write 1/3 A into A plus B. And I can write 1/4 B into A plus B. Then expand brackets. 1/3 A times A, 1/3 A squared. 1/3 A times B, 1/3 AB. Minus 4 times BA you can write as AB. Minus 1/4 AB. Minus into plus 1/4 of 1B into 1B becomes minus 1/4 B squared. Now we know we did the addition of fractions. You can write as 1/3 A squared, and this one we found before, that's plus 1 over 12 AB, and the last term is 1 over 4 B squared. So you are getting the same answer. Now we'll see the exercise 4.1 in your textbook. It says expand and simplify the following binomial expressions. So which one do you like? Do you like the rainbow method or the other one? I think rainbow method is the easiest one. So try that without expanding using the previous method. We'll try the rainbow method or foil method. So we can draw the rainbow and then multiply. So here x into x, x squared, x into 2, 2x, 2 into x plus 2x, 2 into 2 plus 4. We can see these two, you can simplify. X squared plus 2x becomes plus 4x. So plus 4 is there. Use the rainbow method again. This one, this into this. And try the rainbow method now. X into x becomes x squared. X into minus 3 becomes minus 3x. Minus 3 into x minus 3x. Minus 3 into minus 3 becomes plus 9. Simplify the like terms. You get x squared minus 3x and minus 3x. You get minus 6x plus 9. Now use the rainbow again or foil method. You draw rainbows like this and multiply. 2x into x, 2x squared. 2x into plus 2, plus 4x. 3x into x plus 3x. 3 into 2 plus 6. Simplify. You will get 2x squared. 4x plus 3x becomes 7x plus 6. Now again you will use the rainbow method. This one with this one with this one. So here I'll draw all rainbows here. This one with this one with this one. Now I can multiply. 2p times p, 2p squared. 2p times minus 3, minus 6p. Minus 5p times p, minus 5p. Minus 5 into minus 3, you will get plus 15. Now simplify. These two are like terms. You will get 2p squared minus 6 and minus 5 becomes minus 11p plus 15. Here what you get? First one is 3x into 3x, 9x squared. 3x into plus 1, plus 3x. Minus 1 into 3x, minus 3x. Minus 1 into plus 1, minus 1. Here what happens? 3x get cancelled out. So what you get? You get, this one you get cancelled out. You get 9x squared minus 1. So what's this one? Again, we'll use rainbow method. Minus 3x into 2x, minus 6x squared. Minus 3x into minus 3y. You get plus 9xy. 2 times 2x plus 4x. 2 times minus 3y minus 6y. Now see whether there are like terms. Do you see like terms there? No, because here this is an x squared term, this is xy and this is x and y. So there are no like terms. You can't simplify further. We'll take again these questions using rainbow method. Again draw the rainbow like this. For you can multiply and then you can multiply and see. So you get 2a times 3a. You get 6a squared. 2a times 2b, you get 4ab plus b times 3a, 3ab. b times 2b plus 2b squared. Now see whether there are like terms. Yes, these two are like terms. You can simplify further. So you will get 6a squared plus 4 and plus 3 becomes plus 7. And then you will get 2b squared. What about this one? 3x into 4x becomes 12x squared. 3x into 3y, 9xy. Minus 5 into 4x, minus 20xy. And the last term, minus 5 into plus 3y, minus 15y squared. Now, are there any like terms? xy terms are like terms. So you can simplify further. 12x squared plus 9 and minus 20. So what's that? A subtraction. So you will get minus 11xy. And here you get minus 15y squared. Now this one, minus 3 times 3p times 3p. So you get minus 9p squared. Minus 3p times minus 2q. So you get plus 6pq. 4q into 3p. You get 12qp, or you can write as pq. 4q times minus 2q. You get minus 8q squared. Do you get like terms here? Yes. So when you see like terms, you have to simplify further. 6 and plus 12 becomes 18. So you get 18pq and here 8q squared. Now the last one. Again, use the rainbow method. Minus 7k and 3k. You get minus 21k squared. Minus 7k plus 4l. Minus 7 times 4 is minus 28kl. Minus 5l and 3k. So you get minus 15lk. Here lk and kl is the same. Minus 5l and 4l becomes minus 20l squared. Now these two you can simplify. You will end up with minus 21k squared, minus 28 and minus 15. So we'll add these two together. 8 plus 5, 13, and 1 remaining, 2 plus 1 plus 1, 4. So you will end up with minus 43 KL or LK minus 20 L squared. Now we'll see the next part. So you get again two binomial expressions and you are asked to expand brackets. So use rainbow method. Here also you get an expression, use rainbow method. So when you are multiplying these two, what happens? 4m times 4m becomes 16m squared. 4m times minus 3n, you get minus 12mn. Minus 3n times 4m, what you get? Minus 12mn or nm. Doesn't matter. So minus 3 times minus 3 becomes plus 9n squared. So when you are simplifying, you get 16m squared minus 12 and minus 12 minus 24mn plus 9n squared. What happens here? When you are multiplying, what you get? 5x and 5x. You get 25x squared. 5x and minus 2y. You get minus 10xy. Minus 2y into 5x. Again you get minus 10xy or yx. Minus 2y into minus 2y becomes plus 4y squared. When you simplify the middle two terms, you get 25x squared minus 10 and minus 10 becomes minus 20xy plus 4y squared. Now we'll see the next question. Again, binomial expressions and you are asked to expand brackets. So we'll use the FOIL method. So try that now. First one with first one. So you get. So if you can do without writing separately, it's good. It's easy when you look at the numbers carefully. Half x into 2x. So what is half x into 2x? We can see 2 and 2 get cancelled out. So you will get x squared. Half x into 3y. So there's no number here with 2 to get cancelled out. So you can write plus 3xy divided by 2. What's the third term? Y times 2x. So you will get 2xy. What's the last term? Y times 3y. You will end up with 3y squared. Now, are there any like terms? Yes. These two are like terms. So we can simplify this one. 3 over 2 plus 2. So how can you write 2? You can write 3 over 2 plus 2. You can write 1 plus 1 or you can write 2 over 2 and another 2 over 2 because you have 2 there. So what's the answer there? 3 plus 2 is 7 over 2. So when you are simplifying, you get x squared plus 7 over 2xy plus 3y squared. Now we'll take this one. We'll try without writing it again. So here straight away we'll try to multiply. 1/3 p into 2/3 p. So what you get? Here you can multiply numerator separately and denominator separately. So 2 times 1, 2. 3 times 3, 9. So you get 9 2 nines p squared. 1/3 p with minus 3/4 q. Can you see here 3 is common? When you multiply like this, 3 get cancelled out. So you will end up with minus 1/4 pq. What's the next one? So here, What you get here? Half q into 2/3 p. Here also we can see this 2 get cancelled out with the numerator 2. So what you get here? 1/3 pq. What's the last term? Half q into -3/4. So here we can't see common factors to the numerator and denominator. You can multiply separately. -3 times 1 is -3. 2 times 4 is 8. So you get q squared. Now we'll see whether we can simplify. Yes, we need to simplify these two terms. -1/4 and +1/3. So we'll do it separately. What happens here? -1/4 plus 1/3. Common denominator, lowest common denominator is 12. So you convert to the lowest common denominator and just add. So how you get 12 from 4? You multiply by 3. How you get 12 from 3? You multiply by 4. So 4 minus 3 becomes 1. You get 1/12. So instead of this, you can write down 1/12. So I'll erase this part. So no need to show the workings there. So straight away I can write 2/9 p squared plus 1/12 pq minus 3/8 q squared. Now we'll look at the next one. So again, we can use the rainbow method. 3x into 5a becomes 15ax. A and x now. The first term with the last term, 3x into 3b becomes 9xb. 4y into 5a, 20ya. Last term to last term, 4y into 3b, you get 12yb. Now carefully look at this and see whether there are like terms. This is ax, xb, ya, yb. So there are no like terms. You have to keep the answer like this. Now we'll see how we can do this worded problem. It says it's a rectangular shape field and length is given 2a plus 7. So you can draw that. Length is 2a plus 7 and breadth is given 2a minus 3. And you are asked to find out the area of the field. So this is a rectangle. So how you find out the area? Length into breadth. So this is length, this is breadth. You can find out the area by just multiplying these two together. So here what you do? You multiply. This is binomial expression. You can use rainbow method. So how you apply the rainbow? You draw the rainbow like this and multiply to get the final answer. So what's the area? 2a times 2a becomes 4a squared. 2a times minus 3 becomes minus 6a. 7 times 2a becomes 14a. And 7 times 3 becomes minus 21. Now we need to simplify. So what is 14 minus 6? You will get plus 8a minus 21. So this is about an area. So what's the unit here? This is given in meters. So area units is square meters. Now we'll look at the third question. It's given Pumi made a square-shaped flower bed. So, a square-shaped flower bed. So, all sides are equal. And her sister made a rectangular flower bed. So, this is a rectangular flower bed. The length of the sister's bed was 3 meters more than Pumi's and the width was 2 meters less than of Pumi's. Taking the length of one side of Pumi's bed as x. So this is given as x. So you need to read the full question first to get an idea about this. Otherwise, you will start with drawing numbers and you don't know what is the length is. It's given this is as x. So you need to use these letters. So it's given this length is x. Now we can go back to the previous sentence and write down what's the length of this rectangle and the width of the rectangle. So what is the length of rectangle? The length of sister's bed was 3 meters more. So what is more means? If the sister's one is x, this should be plus 3. And what about the breadth? It says width was 2 meters less. So this is Pumi is 1. So x is the breadth of this. So it's 2 meters less. So you can write as x minus 2. Now what's the question is? Write the length and the width of the sister's bed. So this is the length. So you can write down what is the length of this rectangle? X plus 3. What's the breadth of the rectangle? X minus 2. And it says using this, you are asked to find an expression for the area of this rectangle. So how you find out the area of the rectangle? You just multiply breadth into width. So we can straight away find area is equal to length is x plus 3, breadth is x minus 2. This is binomial expressions. So we can multiply using rainbow method. So what's the answer here? So you get x into x becomes x squared, x into minus 2 becomes minus 2x, 3 into x is plus 3x, 3 into minus 2 is minus 6. When you simplify these two, you will get x squared, minus 2 and plus 3 becomes plus 1x. So no need to write 1. And you get minus 6. So you need to write this expression in this form. So what is a? Now you can compare these two. So here this is like ax squared plus bx plus c. So what is a value? When you are comparing these two, we can see that a equals 1, b equals again 1, c equals this value. So minus 6. So we can write down this expression in this form. Now we look at the fourth question. It says a child bought A mandarins which were priced at X rupees. So here A mandarins given. The price is X rupees. Now it's given. He then decides to buy 3 times that number of apples. The price of an apple is twice the price of a mandarin. So here, if this is X rupees, twice the price means the price of this one is 2x rupees. So how many apples are there? So he is buying 3 times, by 3 times that number of apples. If A mandarins there, 3 times of that number is 3A. So this is about apples now. So 3A apples cost 2x rupees. Now what's the question? Write an expression in terms of A and X for the cost of the apples. So what's the cost of the apples? 3A apples is how much? 1 apple is 2x. So you need to multiply 2x by 3a. So what's the answer? 3 times 2, 6, ax. So that's the price of the cost of the apples. So this is in rupees. You can write rupees 6ax. So in the next part here it says the fruit seller states that if the number of apples that are bought is increased by 5, so earlier it was 3a, increased by 5 is 3a plus 5. And it's reduced the price by 3 rupees. So here earlier the price was 2x, reduced means you subtract 3. So the child decides to buy 5 more apples. So here what it says, another 5 more. Now we'll look at the second part. So if he does this, so that means if the child buys 5 more apples, write down the number of apples he buys in terms of A. So we found out number of apples that the child buys is this number 3A plus 5. Now we'll see the next part. It says write down the price of an apple in terms of X. Now we already found that here this is reduced by 3. So this number becomes the price for an apple. So here what's the third part? Third part is write down the price of an apple. So we can write down price of an apple is 2x minus 3. What's the fourth part? Fourth part says write down the cost of the apples in terms of A and X. We know the price of an apple is 2x minus 3. How many apples are there from the previous one? How many apples are there? 3a plus 5. So you just multiply these two to get the cost of the apples. So then they are asked to expand and simplify the above expression. So here you can expand it using binomial expansion and simplify. So what you get here? So you get 3a into 2x becomes 6ax. 3a times minus 3 becomes minus 9a. 5 times 2x becomes plus 10x. 5 times minus 3 becomes minus 15. So when you simplify these two, can you do that? You can't. This is ax term, this is a term and x term. There are no like terms. So this is the price. So you can write, this is the units are rupees. So here you can write 9a plus 10x minus 15 is the answer. So we'll see squares of binomial expressions. So what is squares means? When you get an expression, binomial expression, when you consider power 2, we call it squares of binomial expression. So we'll try to use rainbow method and see what you get first. So here again we can try binomial expressions. Now x plus 2, how can you write that one? So that means x plus 2 multiplied by x plus 2 again, because there's a power here. Same term multiply twice. We can write as x plus 2 into x plus 2. Then we can use the rainbow method. So what you get here? X squared. X into plus 2 is plus 2x. 2 times x is another 2x. And 2 times 2 is 4. So we'll simplify further. So when you are simplifying, you get 2x into 2x is 4x plus 4. Now we'll do another example and see what you can observe. So here, if you have, two numbers like this, a plus b and another a plus b, what you get according to rainbow method? You get a times a is a squared, a times b is ab, b times a you can write as ab, and b times b, b squared, and you can simplify the middle two terms. You get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Now, can you look at these terms and identify the pattern? So here, this is the first term and this is the second term. So what you can observe here? First term squared. What about the last term? I can rewrite this 4 as 2 squared. And here, when we are getting letters, you can easily see this is a squared and this is b squared. So, what is the pattern you see? You see this is the first term square. First term squared. What's the last term? That's the second term squared. Now, what's the middle term? Look at carefully. So here 2 times a times b. That means we multiply these two and multiply by 2 again. So we can write this term as twice the product of first and second. So here 4. How did you get 4 here? If you rewrite this as 2 times 2x, 2 times 2 times x, you can see that 2 is the second term, x is the first term. Twice of the first term and the second term. So here you are getting 4x there. So if you see the pattern, this one you can straight away expand the brackets. You don't need to use the rainbow method. We look at another example. So in your textbook, this is the example number 2. So again, you get a square term. So how we use the previous method that you found? So what is the method when you get a square term? First term squared and the last term squared and the middle term multiply and multiply by 2 again. Double of the 2 products of the 2 terms. So here what we do, you can write first term squared, first term squared, last term squared. And middle term becomes double of the 2 terms, x into 3. So when you simplify, what you get? X squared, you can't simplify further. 2 times 3, 6x plus 3 squared is 9. Now look at this one again, same method. When you have 2 terms with a square term, use the pattern we found. First term squared, last term squared. So when you are taking the last term, you have to consider the minus 2 squared with the sign. And what's the middle term? Middle term is double of these two. So here minus comes, so this answer also minus. 2 times y times 2. So 2 times y. So what's the answer here? You are getting, when you simplify, y squared is there. 2 times 2 becomes 4y. And minus 2 squared becomes minus 2 times 2 becomes 4. So we'll look at the next example, 3x plus 5y squared. So what you do? First term squared. When you have 2 terms, make sure that you put brackets. Last term is 5y whole thing squared. What's the middle term? Double of these two, double of 3x and 5y. So when you simplify, what you get? 3x times 3x, 9x squared. 2 times 3, 6, 6 times 5, 30xy. 5y times 5y, you get 25y squared. Now look at the next one, example number 5. Again, 3a whole thing squared. Last term squared. So you leave a space and you can write down 2b squared, minus 2b squared. The middle term becomes, this is minus 2 times 3a times 2b. Product of the two terms and then multiply by 2 again. What is 3a squared? 9a squared. What's the middle term? 2 times 3, 6. 6 times 2, 12. So you get minus 12ab there. Minus 2 times minus 2 becomes plus 4. So you get 4b squared. Now we'll look at the example number 6. So the first term is minus y. So use the same procedure. Take the first term and square it. Take the last term and square it. The middle term always double of the two terms. So you get minus y into 5. So when you multiply, what you get? Minus y into y becomes y squared. Middle term is negative because plus into minus comes. 2 times 5 is 10. 10y. What is 5 squared? You get 5 times 5, 25. Now we'll look at the 7th example. You take the first term, square it. Last term, square it. And the middle term becomes double of the product of the two terms. Now simplify. 2x times 2x with minus becomes plus. You get 4x squared. Minus into minus becomes plus. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 3, 12xy. What is the last term? Minus 3 times minus 3 becomes plus 9y. 9y squared. Now we'll see example number 8. Now instead of algebraic expressions, now we have number squared. So how we can use the previous method to find out these values? So 105 squared. So you have to write down these numbers with binomial expression. How can we write 105? We can easily write 100 plus 5. So what is 105 squared? You can write 100 plus 5 is 105 squared. Now we can see this is a square term, binomial with square term. So here what we can do? Use the same pattern we observed. So here first term is 100 and the second term is 5. So how can we find out this? We can take the first term squared, last term squared. And what's the middle term? Double of. So you need to write double of the two terms. So we can write double of 105. Now you need to simplify. What is 100 times 100? You get 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So what's the number? 10,000. What's the middle term? 2 times 100 is 200. 200 times 5. So you get 1000. What's the last number? 5 squared is 25. So when you are simplifying this, so you can add it. So you get 5, 2, and then the third one 0, and you get fourth one 1, and the fifth one is 1. So what's the value of 105 squared? You get 11,025. So this one also you can easily use the previous method. How can you write 99? 99 you can write 100 minus 1. Then you can use the previous method. So what is the previous method? You take the first squared and take the last number squared. And then the middle term becomes double of the two product. So what's the final answer? 100 squared you can write 10,000. What's the middle term? This is minus now. 2 times 100 is minus 200. What's the last term? Minus 1 into minus 1 becomes plus 1. So what's the final answer? So we'll do the subtraction here. So you have to subtract 200 from this. So you get 9,800 and then you have to add 1. So what's the final answer? 9,801. Now we'll see the example number 10. It says verify this one for the values of x equals 5 and y equals 2. So you have given an expression. So there are two sides. So you have to check whether the left hand side is equal to the right hand side with the given numbers. So first we'll take left hand side. So left hand side, what you get? X plus y whole thing squared. If x is 5 and y is 2, what you get? So 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 squared is 49. So left hand side you get 49. Now we'll see the right hand side. So it says x squared. So x squared, the expression is given x squared plus 2xy plus y squared. So how you find out this one? Using the given values. Instead of x you substitute 5. Instead of y you can substitute 2. So you can write 5 squared times 2 times xy. Xy means 2 times 5 times 2 plus y squared, 2 squared. Now try to simplify. 5 squared is 25. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 2 squared is 4. When you simplify, what you get? 25 plus 20 is 45. 45 plus 5 is 49. Now what you can see? Left hand side is equal to right hand side. So that means this equation is correct. So that's how you verify when you have given an equation like this. Now we'll look at the exercise 4.2 in your textbook. The first question, you have given column A and column B and you are asked to join corresponding expansions. So when you are looking at the left side, so here we need to check this is the first term and the last term. And all these terms are square terms. You know the pattern. When you are getting a square number, first term squared, double of the product of the two terms and the second term squared. So when you are observing this, the first one, you can easily see x is there. So definitely in this expression, x squared should be there. So there are 3 terms with x squared. Now we need to find out which one is suitable. Middle sign is plus. So definitely the middle sign should be plus. So what are the terms you get plus? Can you see these two negative? So straight away we can see that this is the correct answer. Then you can check the third number as well. 5 squared is 25. So we can see this is this expansion. Next one, same term. So that means you should get x squared and 25. But the middle term is negative. So same terms with the negative sign you are getting. Now can you find out that this is the answer? Same these two terms with a negative sign. So here you need to combine these two. That's the expression. Now these two, all these three, you get 2x as the first term. So what is 2x squared? 4x squared. So you have to get something related to 4x squared as the first term. What's the last term? 5 squared is 25. So where you get 4x squared as the first term and last term as 25. This is the term. Now we can check whether the middle term is correct. So here plus is there. So that term is also plus. Double of this. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 2, 20. So can you see? You are getting 20. So the third answer is this. Now the next one. First term should be 4x squared and the last term should be y squared. So do you see any term 4x squared with y squared? You get two expressions. And see, the middle term is plus. So which one is suitable? This is the suitable one. So here we can check the middle term, double it. 2x times y, double it, you get 4xy. So this is the correct answer. This one, 5 and minus 2x there. So that means 4x squared and 25 should be there as the first and the last term. And here when you multiply, you are getting a negative 20. So can you see this expression? You get those terms. And this one, you get first term as x squared and the second term as minus 2y squared. That means 4y squared. And the middle term should be double. 2 times 2, 4, 4xy. So you should get negative 1, 4xy, x squared first. And the last term is 4y squared. So we can see this one is related to this one. And this one, first term should be 4x squared and the last term should be y squared. So you get 4x squared and y squared. So this is okay. That's the only one. 4x squared and y squared. We'll check the middle term. When you multiply by 2, you get minus 4xy or 4yx. So here you can find this answer as well. The next one, 2x and 3y. 2x squared is 4x squared and 3y is 9y squared. What's the middle term? Multiply by 2. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 3, 12xy. Can you see? This is the correct answer. What's the next one? Same thing with minus. So you get 4x squared and 9y squared with negative 12xy. So here we can see that this is the correct answer. So the other one, here you get minus 2y and minus x. Minus 2y when you square it plus 4y squared. And this one you get plus x squared. And the middle term, can you see minus into minus? You get plus 4xy. So here we can see this one is relevant to this expression. Now we'll look at the second example. Expand each of the following squares of binomial expressions. So you can straight away use the pattern that we observed. So what is the pattern? X squared, first term squared, last term squared, 2 squared is 4. And what's the middle term? Double of these two. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times x, 4x. This is plus because plus 2 into 2 becomes plus 4. What about this one? Take the first term squared, last term squared. 3 squared is 9. This is plus. What's the middle term? Double of a and 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times a, 6a. So the third one, first term squared, last term squared. Minus 3 squared becomes plus 9. What's the middle term? You're getting a negative answer because negative times 2 into 3 becomes negative 6. So the middle term becomes 6p. This one, again square term. Take the first term squared, last term squared. Minus 1 into minus 1 becomes plus 1. What's the middle term? Middle term becomes negative. So you multiply by double of these two. So the number becomes minus 2y. This one, first term squared is 4a squared. Last term squared, 3 into 3 becomes plus 9. What's the middle term? 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2, 12. So you get 12a. This one, square the first one, 3b into 3b. So what's the answer? 9b squared. So you can write down 9b squared for the first term squared. What's the last term squared? 2 squared is 4. What's the middle term? 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 3, 12b. This one, first term squared is 3x into 3x becomes 9x squared. What's the last term? Minus 1 into minus 1 becomes plus 1. What's the middle term now? Double of these two. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 1 minus 6x. This one, 4m into 4m becomes 16m squared. Minus 5 into minus 5 becomes plus 25. What's the middle term? Double of 4 times 5. 2 times 4, 8. 8 times 5, 40. This is negative, so you get negative 40m. Now we'll take these questions. Again, same thing you are applying. First term squared, 9p squared. Last term squared, 4 times 4, 16q squared. What's the middle term? 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 4, 24pq. In this one, 5m squared. 5m squared is 25m squared. 3n squared, this minus 3n times minus 3 becomes plus 9n squared. So what's the middle number? 2 times 5, 10. 10 times 3 minus 30mn. In this question, again same procedure. Minus 2y times minus 2y becomes 4y squared. 5 times 5 becomes 25. What's the middle term? Double of these two. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times minus 2 is minus 20y. Now this one, 3a multiplied by 3a, square it, 9a squared. Minus 5b when you square it, you get plus 25b squared. What's the middle term? Double of these two. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 5, 30. So you get minus 30ab. In this question, minus 3m squared, you get 9m squared. N squared is the last term. What's the middle term? When you multiply, you get a minus sign. 2 times 3, you get 6mn. Now this one, minus 5m when you square it, you get 25m squared. And minus 6n squared, you get 36n squared. What's the middle term? Minus into minus becomes plus. Plus is your answer. Double these two numbers. 2 times 5, 10. 10 times 6, 60mn. Now we'll see the third question. So this is slightly different to previous questions. You have given half of the expansion and you are asked to write down these blanks. So here, look carefully. You have given two terms and here first one you have to write down the last term. So we know the pattern. First term is x squared. Last term is the second term squared. So the 3 is the number. So what's the last term? 3 squared becomes 9. This is also easy. Now here in this case, the second term is missing. So what is the second term? Double of these two. So you can write separately, double of y and 2 is the middle term. So what's the middle term then? 2 times 2, 4. 4 times y is 4y. So here this should be 4y. In this case, last term is missing. So how we find out the last term? This is minus 5 squared. So what is minus 5 into minus 5? You get 25. This one, the expansion is given and you are asked to find out the binomial expression. So the reverse order. How we can find out that number? We know square of this number is this one. So what's the reverse of square? We did in chapter 2. This is the square root of 16. So what is the square root of 16? We know square root of 16 is 4. So you can straight away write down this should be 4. What about the other one? You don't know the first term. But we know 25 is the first term square. What's the reverse of square term? You have to take the square root. So what is square root of 25? You are getting 5. So this should be 5. This part. First term is missing. All the other terms are there. So how you get the first term? What is the square root of x squared? We know square root of x squared is, I explained this before, when there's a square root and square term, it get cancelled out and you are getting x as the answer. This one, you have given two terms and there are two blanks. So by looking at the last term, you can fill this blank. X squared is the square term. What's the square root of x squared? This should be x. And here the first term is given and you need to find out the square term of that. What is minus 3 squared? Minus 3 times minus 3 becomes 9. This one, you have given all three terms and you are asked to fill this blank. So that means you have to find out the square root of 16. So what is square root of 16? You know square root of 16 is 4. Now we'll see these numbers and you are asked to use binomial expressions. Now we did some examples related to that. You have to write 21 in terms of two numbers. How can we write 21? We can write 21 as 20 plus 1. Then you can use the previous method to find the square term. What's the previous method? You take the first term squared, last term squared, and the middle term is doubled. And the product you have to take. 2 times 20, 40. So you get 40 here. So when you simplify that, 20 squared is 400. 20 times 20 plus 40 plus 1 squared is 1. So what's the answer? 441. What about this one? 102. How can you write? You can write as 100 plus 2. And this is a square term. So use the pattern. First term squared, last term squared. So last term squared is 2 times 2 is 4. What's the middle term? Double of these two. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 100 is 400. When you simplify, 100 square is 10,000. 400 is there and adding 4. So what's the final answer? 10,404. 17. How can you write? You can write as 20 minus 3. So 20 minus 3 whole thing squared. Again use the pattern. First term squared, last term squared, minus 3 squared. What's the middle term? Double of 20 times minus 3. So what's the final answer? 20 times 20 is 400. Minus 3 times 2 minus 6 into 20 is minus 120 plus 9. So 400 minus 120. So what is 400 minus 120? So you get 280. So 280 plus 9, 289. Now 98, what's the easiest way to write? You can write 100 minus 2. It's a square term. So how you can simplify? You get first term squared, last term squared, and the middle term is, this is minus double of 100 times 2. When you simplify, what you get? 100 squared is 10,000. Times 2 times 2, 4. So you get minus 400 plus 4. Simplify this one. You get 10,000 minus 400. So what's that? So you get 9,600. 9,600 and adding 4 becomes 9,604. Last one, 9.9. How can you write 9.9? This is a decimal answer. So you can write 10 minus 0.1. So use the same procedure. 10 squared, 0.1 squared, and the middle term is double of 10 times 0.1. 10 squared is 100. Now here can you see 10 and 0.1? What's the answer? You get 1. 1 times 2, 2. How you find 0.1 into 0.1? So that means you just multiply 1 times 1, 1, and you get 2 decimal places. So you have to keep 2 decimal places. So you will get 0.01. So you are adding 0.01. So what's the answer? Here 100 minus 2 is 98. 98 and plus 0.01 becomes 98, 0.01. Now we'll look at the fifth question. It says, if the length of a side of a square-shaped room is given as 2a plus 3b meters, write down an expression for the area. So you have given, this is a square and one side is given 2a plus 3b. So this is also 2a plus 3b because this is a square. All sides are equal. And you are asked to find the area. So what is area? Length into length. So you get 2a plus 3b into 2a plus 3b. This is same as 2a plus 3b squared. Again use the pattern we observed. First term squared, 2a into 2a is 4a squared. Last term squared, 3b into 3b, what you get? 9b squared. What's the middle term? Double of these two. 2 times 2, 4, 4 times 3, 12. And you get AB. So what's the area of this square? This is the area, and what's the unit? It's given in meters, so the area is square meters. Now we'll take the sixth question, verify. So you have to substitute these values and see that whether left hand side is equal to the right hand side. So we'll take the left hand side first. When you take left hand side, so you have to substitute the values. A is 2 and B is 3. So minus 2 plus 3. And there's a square term. So what is minus 2 plus 3 is 1. 1 squared is, you get 1. Now we'll take the right hand side. So here you get, we'll substitute straight away. A squared. So this means 2 squared minus 2 times the multiplication of A and B. So here A, B is 2 and 3. So what is 2 times 3? You get 6 plus B squared. So B squared is 3 squared. So what's the answer? So we'll simplify. 2 squared is 4. 2 times 6 is 12. So you get minus 12 and 3 squared is 9. Now what's the answer? We can add these two together. 4 plus 9, 13. 13 minus 2 is 1. So we can see now left hand side answer is equal to the right hand side answer. That's how you verify an expression like this. And another expression is given and you have to take the same a value and b value. A equals 2 and b equals 3. So we'll take the left hand side first. Minus a is 2, so you get minus 2. Minus b, that means you get minus 3 squared. So minus 2 and minus 3 becomes minus 5. So minus 5 whole thing squared. So what is minus 5 whole thing squared? You get 25. Then what is the right hand side? Right hand side becomes a equals 2. So here 2 squared plus 2 times AB. What is A here? You get 2. What is B there? You get 3. 2 times AB plus B squared. B squared is 3 squared. Now simplify this side. 2 squared is 4. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Plus 3 squared is 9. So here you get 9 plus 4 is 13. 13 plus 12 is 25. So you can see left hand side is equal to right hand side. Now we'll take the next one. You have given different x and y values and same question you are asked to verify both sides. So here when you are doing that, you can take the left hand side first and find out the answer. So what's the left hand side answer? Straight away we'll substitute 2x. 2 times 3, 6. 3y. 3 times 2, 6. So then there's a bracket. What's the x value? 3. What's the y value? 2. So when you are simplifying, 6 plus 6 is 12. 3 plus 2 is 5. 12 times 5 is 60. Now we'll look at the right hand side. When you are looking at right hand side, we see the other side expression 2x squared. So x squared is 3 squared. Next term is 5. X is, what's the x value? 3. Y equals 2. And what is the last term? 3. Y squared means 2 squared. So when you are simplifying this one, 3 squared is 9. 9 times 2, 18. 5 times 3, 15. 15 times 2, 30. And 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 3, 12. When you are adding these numbers, 8 plus 2 is 10. You are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the answer is 60. So you can see left hand side answer is equal to right hand side. Now this one, you get one value as 0. So we'll see whether it works. So take the left hand side, substitute x equals 5 and y equals 0. So when x equals 5, 5 times 2, 10 and you are getting 3 times 0 is 0. What's another other bracket? X is 5, y is 0. So when you are simplifying, what you get? 10 plus 0 is 10 and this is 5. 10 times 5 is 50. Now look at the right hand side. Right hand side. What's the expression? 2x squared. 2 times x squared. X squared is 5 squared. Plus 5 times 0 times a number. When you multiply any number by 0, you get 0. The next one, y squared. 0 squared is 0. 0 times this number is 0. So what's the final answer? 5 squared is 25. 25 times 2 is 50. Now we can see left hand side is equal to right hand side. Now we'll take this question. Again, you have given two different values and ask you to verify. So what you do when you want to verify, just take the left hand side and show that it's equal to the right hand side. So when you are substituting 1 and 1, what happens to the left hand side? So you get 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 1 is 3. The other bracket is 1 plus 1. When you are simplifying that, 2 plus 3 is 5 and 1 plus 1 is 2. So 2 times 5 is 10. When you are taking right hand side, what you get? 2 times x squared. X squared is 1 squared. 5 times x into y. 1 times 1. 3 times y squared. Y squared is 1 squared. So when you simplify this, you get 1 squared is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Then what's the next one? 5 times 1 becomes 5. 1 squared is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Then what you get? 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 5 becomes 10. Now you can see left hand side is equal to right hand side. Now we'll take the next one. You get minus values. When you have minus values, make sure that you put brackets. So left hand side becomes 2x. 2 times minus 1 plus 3 times minus 2. I'll write this down because you get minus values. Now what's the next bracket? So x is minus 1. So you get minus 1 and minus 2. So when you simplify, you get minus 2 and minus 6. Minus 2 minus 6 into minus 1 and minus 2 becomes minus 3. So what's the answer? Minus 2 and minus 6 becomes minus 8. Minus 8 and minus 3 becomes plus 24. Now we'll see whether it works for the right hand side. What's the right hand side? 2x squared. 2 times x squared. X squared is minus 1 squared. What's the next term? Plus 5 times x is minus 1, y is minus 2. What's the last term? 3 times y squared. Y squared is minus 2 squared. When you want to simplify this, what happens? Minus 1 into minus 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Minus into minus becomes plus. 5 times 2 becomes 10. And what's the last term? Minus 2 times minus 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. When you are adding that, 12 plus 2 is 14. 14 plus 10 is 24. So you can see left hand side is equal to right hand side. So that's how we verify an expression. Now we'll take the second one. Write each of the following squares of binomial expressions with fractional coefficients as a product of two binomial expressions and simplify it. So here they are asking, take as binomial, product of binomial expressions. So that means you have to write down separately as a product. So this means you are multiplying same expression twice. So how you do something like this? You can use rainbow method. So here you can multiply like this, and if you can do at once, do it. Otherwise you write separately. Half x into half x. X into x becomes x squared. 2 into 2 becomes 4. Half x into y. You can straight away write half xy. Y into half x, again you get half xy. Y into y, you get y squared. Can you see that half plus half becomes 1? So what's the final answer? X squared over 4 plus xy plus y squared. Now we'll take the second one. So how can you write the second one? 1/3 a minus b multiplied by 1/3 a minus b. So again, use rainbow method to multiply. So you can use rainbow method and write down 1/3 a into 1/3 a. You can straight away write down a squared over 9. 3 times 3. 1/3 a times minus b. So you get 1/3 ab. The third term, minus b times 1/3 a. Again you are getting minus 1/3 ab. What's the last term? Minus b times minus b becomes plus b squared. When you simplify these two terms, what you get? Minus 1/3 minus 1/3. What's the answer? You get minus 2/3 ab plus b squared. Now we'll take the third one. So it's given 1/4 mn minus 2/3 n. So we'll write down twice because that's a square term and multiply. Use the rainbow method. So you get 1/4 m into 1/4 m. What you get? You get 1 over 16 m squared. You can write as m squared over 16. 1/4 m with minus 2/3 n. We can see 2 and 4. You can simplify and write down this as minus mn over 6. Are you okay with this one? We'll see whether it's right. Half m minus minus 2/3 n. Now can you see 2 and this 4 get cancelled out and you can see 2 times 3 is 6. So here we can erase this and write down the third term. Third term is this into this. Here again, can you see this 2 and 4 get cancelled out and you're getting minus mn over 6 again because 2 and this 4 get cancelled out and 2 times 3 is 6. What's the last term? Minus 2/3 n into minus 2/3 n. So you get plus 2 times 2 4, 3 times 3 9 n squared. So you can simplify these two terms and write down m squared over 16 and what is minus 1 over 6 and minus 1 over 6? You get minus 2 over 6. So minus 2 over 6 you can simplify further. You can write down minus 1/3. So you can write down minus 1/3 mn plus 4 over 9n squared. Now we'll see the third question and here filling blanks. Now here again look at the first term and the last term. Now there's a problem. Earlier 1 was given. So you straight away found that by taking square root or taking square of this number. But now what happens? It's not easy. So how we can find out this number? We can use the given middle number. We know when you multiply this by 2 and this one, you get 6x. Now x is already there. So that means this number should be a number. So what you do? We multiply by 2 and get this number. What's the reverse order? You divide by 2. So what you can do? You take the number, divide by 2. So what's the number? 6 divided by 2 is 3. So this number should be 3. If this number is 3, we can straight away write down what's the last number? Square of 3. What is the square of 3? You get 9. Now we'll look at the second part. Again, first and last terms are not given. So you use the same procedure. Look at this term, divide by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So that means this should be 4. If you know that, you square that to get the last number. What is 4 squared? You get 16. What's this one? This is slightly easier than the previous one. Can you see the square term is given? So how you find out the first term? Take the square root of x squared. So what is the square root of x squared? I told you before, square term and the square root term get cancelled out and you are getting x here. Now we have these two terms. What's the middle term? Double of these two. 2 times 5 is 10 and 10 times x is 10x. What about this one? You have given first term, square number of the first one. If this is x squared, you can easily find out this number, square root of x squared. What is square root of x squared? It's x. You know these two numbers, how you find out the middle term? Double of the product of these numbers. So 2 times x times y, you get 2xy. We'll take the next question. Okay, fourth one, it says, for each of the following expressions, determine the term that should be added so that it can be written as a square of a binomial expression. Add the relevant term to the given expression and then write it as a square of a binomial expression. Now you need to get a square term. So you are asking to fill these numbers. Now how we do that? So here 6x is given as the middle term. So how you get 6x? Multiplication of these two, the square root of these two values, and double it. Now here what happens when you are getting expression? You get square root of this number as the first number. So what is square root of x squared? You get x. So you know the middle term is 6x. How you get 6x? So here double of this number is 6x, means use the reverse order. 6 divided by 2, you get 3. So 3 should be this number. If this is 3 and this is plus, so this is also plus. So what is the square term here? 3 squared is 9. So you can start from here and then we can go back to the previous one. So from this you can find out the expression should be x squared plus 6x plus 9. Now again this one. First term and the second term given, you need to find the last term. So how you do that? We know if this is y squared, the first term should be y, square root of y squared. And the sign is plus, so definitely this should be plus. Double of this one is 8. So what's the reverse one? 8 divided by 2 is 4. So that means the second number should be 4. And how you find out the square term? Last term squared. So 4 squared is 16. Now we'll take the third one. Similar to the previous one, you need to have a square term. To get the square term, you need to get the square root of m squared. So this first number should be m. What is the last number? So you divide by 2. 10 divided by 2 becomes 5. So the last number should be plus 5. Now how you get the last number? 5 squared becomes 25. Now when you look at the next one, first term and the second term given. So to get a square term, this term should be square root of a squared. So that's a. Double of this one is minus 4. So here you have to think about the sign as well. Minus 4 divided by 2 is minus 2. So here you are getting minus 2 there. So what's the last number? So last number is, I'll erase this one here. So the last number is minus 2 squared. What is minus 2 times minus 2? You get 4. This one, you get x squared as the first term. So what should be the square root of x squared? You get x. Double of these two numbers, 4xy. Now when you are multiplying x with another number, already x is there. That means you have to take 4y and divide by 2. So what is 4y divided by 2? You get 2y. So the next term should be 2y. Now what is the last number you have to add? 2y squared is 4y squared. Now look at this one. You get p squared minus 12pq. So here definitely the first term should be p because square root of p squared. And here you know this is minus 12pq. Multiplication with this one is minus 12pq. P is already there. So we need to look at 12q and divide by 2. So what is minus 12q divided by 2? You get minus 6q. So this answer should be minus 6q. When you square minus 6q, you get the value here. Minus 6 times minus 6 is 36. You get 36q squared. And we'll look at the fifth question. Find the value of this expression when x plus 5 equals 5 and xy equals 6. You are asked to find x squared plus y squared. So, you know x plus y is 5. Now here xy is given. So, that means multiply the two terms. That means definitely this should be a square term. So, we'll square both sides. When you square both sides, what happens? You get this expression and 5 squared is 25. Now what we can do, we know this is a square term. Straight away you can write down the expression. Expand and write down the expression. So what's the expansion? X squared, double of these two numbers multiplied. So 2 times xy and then y squared. So this expression is 25. But you know xy value is 6 given. So you can substitute there. So what we can do, I can write x squared plus 2 times xy value is given 6 plus y squared is 25. And easily we can find out x squared plus y squared because those are the two unknown terms. So what we can do, we can simplify. 6 times 2 is 12. And here you want this answer, x squared plus y squared. So you can take this 12 to the other side. What happens when you take it to the other side? You need to subtract 12 from 25. So when you subtract, what happens? 5 minus 2 is 3. 2 minus 1 is 1. So the answer for the x squared plus y squared is 13. Now we'll look at the sixth question. Find the value of a squared plus b squared when a minus b is 3 and ab is 28. Now similar to the previous question, you can square this equation and find out easily. So when you square both sides, what happens? This squared is equal to 3 squared. So what is 3 squared? You get 9. So what's the rule? When you get square term, first square and double of the two terms plus the square of the last term. And also we know AB is 28. You can substitute. Instead of AB, you can substitute 28. And then you can write down this equation. But you want a squared plus b squared. So what is a squared plus b squared? You have to take this term to the other side. First we'll simplify. Minus 2 times 28, you get 56. 6 is equal to 9. So what is a squared plus b squared? You need to take minus 56 to the other side. That becomes 9 plus 56. So when you simplify that, 9 plus 6 is 5. 1 remaining. So you get 65 as the answer. Now we'll take the 7th question. So 7th question is also the same thing, but this is given x squared y squared is given 25. You are asked to find x plus y. So what we can do here? So we can write x plus y. So when you take x plus y, when you square it, what happens? You get x squared plus 2xy plus y squared. Now this part is given. We know we can rearrange this and write. I can write 2xy and x squared plus y squared together. Now what happens here? This is given 25 and xy is given 12. So 12 times 2, you get 24. X squared plus y squared is 25. So you can get the x plus y whole thing squared. Now here x plus y whole thing squared is, what's the value? 49. But the question asks to find x plus y. So how you find out x plus y? You need to take the square root of that. When you take the square root of one side, you have to take the square root of the other side as well. So what's the square root of this? You get x plus y. What's the square root of 49? You get plus or minus 7. So the answer you want is the value of x plus y. So that's plus or minus 7. Now we'll take the 8th question. So you're asked to find the value of k and q. But here this expression is given. Now you have to take the left hand side. When you are squaring this one, what you get? You get square of the first one, double of the two terms and square of the last term. But we know when you are comparing these two, the middle term, when you take without x, 6x should be equal to, we'll ignore x, 6 should be equal to 2k. You can easily find out the k value. So what is k value? You divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. After you get the k value, you can find out the last number. So last number is k squared. If k is 3, what is k squared? You are getting 9. When you compare the last two numbers, q should be k squared, but we found k squared is 9. So q should be 9. Now we'll take the last question of this chapter. T squared plus 1 over t squared is, you are asked to find this value when t plus 1 over t is 2. So we can take that expression and square both sides. Because why we are squaring this? We can see in this expression you are getting power 2. So when you are expanding, what happens? T squared, first term squared, double of t into 1 over t. Double of these two and square of the last term. That's equal to 2 squared is 4. Now try to simplify this. Here t get cancelled out. This t get cancelled out this t and you can simplify. So here what you get? T squared plus 2 and then 1 over t whole thing squared is 1 over t squared. That's equal to 4. Now you want this answer. So we rearrange t squared plus 1 over t squared plus 2 is equal to 4. You want this answer, so what you do, you take 2 to the other side. So what's the answer? T squared plus 1 over t squared is equal to 4 minus 2. That becomes 2. So we discussed all the exercises and examples in this chapter. So what we discussed here, we took all binomial expressions and found out how you expand brackets. So what's the method you learned here? The new method you learned is the rainbow method, or we call it foil method. So try to use that and easily you can do the expansions.